Hi everyone, how's it going? So tonight is free tutoring on the core subjects EC through 6. Um, I'm glad people are doing well. That's great. So I want to get started. Some of you guys know me and have my course already, and some of you don't. But my name is Courtney, and I've passed 15 certification exams, Texas exams, all on my first try. Kind of a serial test taker. You can see all of the tests that I've taken here. Um, so the core subjects, ESL, bilingual supplemental Spanish test, speech, technology applications, lots of them. And now I offer digital courses and study material to help other people pass. So we'll talk about the core subjects, some tips and strategies. But before we do that, I'd like to show you that the state just released some data. Every year they publish data on the passing rates, right? And just a few days ago, the last year available was 2021 to 2022, but now they've released the 2022 to 2023. So if we see ELAR, the passing rate was 86 and now it's 87. So not much different. And then if we look at fine arts, you want to look at the 905. 805 was the old version, so we don't want to look at that one. 79, now it's 80%, so that's good. Math, 78, it held the same, 78%. Science, for some reason let's see, okay, 82 and 82, so it stayed the same. Hi. And then social studies also stayed the same. So you can see it's all in the 70s to the low 80s for the passing rate, right? But that being said, that sounds like a good passing rate, but I think that these numbers are a little bit skewed because these are the data by educator preparation programs. And I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe this is people that are already in their internship. So it doesn't include some of the people that are taking it. So I think these numbers are a little bit higher than for real. Um, so it's important to study, right? Like some people have told me, well, I don't need to study for an elementary school test. That's going to be easy. But the reality is that this tests more than elementary level knowledge. So you might have noticed if you've looked at the math that it goes up more to like algebra and geometry, right? Not all of it, but it does have some algebra and some geometry on there. So it goes up way past 6th grade. And so does science and social studies. So we do have to prepare accordingly. And then language arts is not so much what we think of as language arts. It's a lot of questions on how to teach language arts, right? And then fine arts can be challenging because there's so much to it. So tonight, because some of you guys, I bet some of y'all have already passed some of the subjects. Is that right? Have some of y'all already passed some of the subjects? You can put it in the chat box or unmute. Yes? No. So some of you guys haven't taken it. Yeah, some of y'all have passed some subjects, right? And I think we should be encouraged that if we passed even one, because to me, you guys are taking 5 tests, right? So to me, you've already passed. If you've passed 2 subjects, you've already passed 2 tests, just 3 more to go. That's how I look at it. So tonight, because everybody's probably doing different things, some of you guys are going to take the whole test and some of you are just taking certain parts of it. So I thought, let's talk about some strategies that will work for everybody, no matter what you're doing, right? So I'm going to go to this course I have, and I don't think anybody else has a course quite like this before. I've never seen it. So you know how there are
these questions are often the hardest to answer
one
because
second.
you cannot study and memorize content.
Okay, so you know how on every subject, like even if you haven't taken the test, some of you guys haven't taken it, you've probably looked at the free questions on the Texas NESINC website, the manual. And have you noticed that about 20% of the questions are not on stuff you can memorize, but on how to handle a situation or a scenario. Have y'all noticed that? Yes. And for a lot of people, those are the trickiest questions because we can't study for that, right? But I can give you some quick tips today that will help you get more right. And then if you like what you see tonight, you can get this little course that has a lot of sample questions and a lot of videos to teach you. Everybody can narrow it down to two. There's always two that are obviously wrong, and then two that both seem right, right? So then what do we do to figure out which one is most right? And I'll talk about that tonight. But the main thing is, and this is going to sound obvious, like I've heard this since elementary school, but you want to read the question carefully and the four answer choices, right? And then look for the one that's most on topic. I know that sounds obvious, but a lot of people pick the one that's most learner-centered. That sounds like the best scenario, but it has to be on topic, right? So after you narrow it down, and let's say you have two or three that are on topic, well, then you want to look for which one's most thorough. Which one more thoroughly addresses the question, has more activities, or a better explanation of how they'll handle that. So then you're probably still left with two. After you've determined, okay, which one is most on topic, most thorough, then you look at the one that's most learner-centered. But most people automatically pick the one that's most learner-centered, that talks about differentiated instruction, that talks about collaborative learning, but it might be slightly off topic and they're trying to trick you, right? So we'll look at some examples tonight. Um, so this course is made for any subject that you need because these come up on all subjects. So it's a mix of different questions: math, science, social studies, language arts, fine arts. So let's watch this little video that I made on this. And it's kind of going to repeat a little bit of what I just said, but I think it'll be good to hear it again to really reinforce that.
In this course, you'll learn how to answer situational questions correctly on the core subjects EC through 6 exam. These questions are often the hardest to answer because you cannot study and memorize content like you can for the rest of the questions, but there are some tips and strategies you can learn to help you maximize your chance of getting these answers correct. The first thing you want to do is make sure you understand what the question is asking. I know that sounds very elementary or basic, but I've been doing a lot of tutoring over the last 10 years, and I've noticed a lot of times people pick the answer choice that sounds best instead of one that actually addresses the question. So once you understand what the question is asking, look for the option that is most on topic. Sometimes there's more than one. So if there's more than one that are both on topic, decide which one or ones thoroughly address the question. At this point, you might already have your correct answer, but if you don't, decide which of the remaining options is most learner-centered. That means most focused on the needs of the students, has them doing hands-on activities and actively participating. If you have two options that are still remaining, that are both on topic, thoroughly address the question, and are both learner-centered, decide which is most effective. So throughout this course, you'll see many examples and you'll learn how to answer these questions in a more specific way, but these are the basic ideas to help you answer these questions correctly.
Okay, so now I hope this is going to work. It's loading. Huh, that's weird. My internet's been working fine all day. Now it's giving me trouble. Okay, well, if we can't do it like this, I've got a backup plan. If you guys could mute your mics, that would be great because I'm hearing an echo. Um, Let me try this again, and if this doesn't work, then we will go to plan B. Okay, 1 second, guys. I gotta pull up a file because that's not working anymore.
Answering situational questions on the core subject.
EC through 6 exam. This can be very challenging because you can't just memorize content. An answer choice that is on topic
That's
and
not the one
thoroughly.
I need. Sorry, guys. This is hard because my site's not working.
Answering situational questions on the core.
Let me restart it.
Okay, well, we'll have to do something else. We're going to just do some sample questions, not necessarily the situational ones, because even those videos aren't loading. But that's okay. I always have lots of questions. So we'll do a mix because I know some of you guys are doing.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Courtney Schonefeld with Texas Teacher Today, and today I want to give you.
Okay, so let me make this bigger. These are some sample questions that I either use to email out to people for free or some from my course. So let's look at these. And some of them might be situational, like this one is. So this is on math. Miss Smith teaches third grade. Many of her students are struggling with learning decimals. What would be the best hands-on approach to help her students learn about decimals in a meaningful way? So I'll show these answer choices. So she's trying to teach them about decimals in a meaningful way. So see what you think out of A, B, C, or D. Okay, good. Some of you guys are answering. Let's see. Okay, good. I'll give you guys a second to keep answering. Yes, D, see how it's most on topic, most thorough, and learner centered, right? So that's really good. Now, number 2, Mr. Smith teaches 5th grade mathematics. His students are at various levels, and he wants to meet the needs of all learners. What is the best way he can design instruction to meet the needs of all students? You guys are good. That's right. See how this one is on topic, it's thorough, it's learner centered, and most of all, it's effective, right? So you guys are nailing these. This one, I'm going to skip that one because we can do it. We didn't talk about assessments, but you've probably been learning about assessments from your program. So let's try this one too. And then we'll go to another subject because some of you guys already passed math, I bet. Mrs. Garcia teaches 6th grade mathematics. At the end of a unit on probability, she gives the students a test over how to use stem and leaf plots, scatter plots, and histograms. The test will count for 20% of their 6 weeks grade. Mrs. Garcia is using you guys are nailing these. Yes. So if you didn't know it, because some people aren't answering, it's formal because it's counting for a grade, right? It's summative because it's given at the end of a unit. So formative is given while you're still teaching a lesson, and summative is whenever it's done. And formal is usually for a grade. That makes kids a little bit nervous. So we did that. So we did some math. Now let's do some English language arts. And I wish my other stuff was working, but we've got to just go with what we've got. And luckily I always have a backup plan. All right, so let me make this a little bit bigger. So these questions are similar to the ones in my course, and some of them are the same as the ones in my course, but in my course it would check it for you, right? So it's really Convenient. All right. This is English language arts. A fifth grade teacher has several students who are uncomfortable giving class presentations or answering questions aloud. Which strategy is best to encourage them to participate and also improve their listening and speaking skills? So let's see what you guys think about this one. Good. Now, usually when I do this, people pick D. But if we allow students to always choose their own group, that's not always the most effective way, right? So the best way is to give them lots of opportunities where they don't feel threatened. They're in a small group, but they're not selecting their own group. We want to vary who they're meeting with, right? Because if we let them pick, they're going to pick the same people every time, right? So we want them working with a variety of people. Number two, a sixth grade teacher assigns a short text and some multiple choice questions about the main ideas and key details of the text. Which of the following skills is he targeting? Yes, this would be reading comprehension. So we did that. Now let's do some social studies, which most people find a little bit more challenging, right? The math and the social studies are the two that people struggle with the most. All right. This one I thought was really tricky. There's a similar question to this in the Texas NES INC manual. Which of the following is best to teach latitude and longitude? Yeah, for this one, I would have picked a globe too, but the correct answer is digital GPS. And if we do think about it, if you think about GPS, you know how it has the coordinates, right? That's latitude and longitude coordinates. So it makes sense after we think about it from that perspective. And then let's do number two. Which of the following is the most appropriate activity for kindergarten students? Yeah, so this one I'm seeing different answers. The correct answer is A, drawing a map of the classroom. When they're in kindergarten, if we think about it from Jean Piaget's stages of cognitive development, right? When they're little like that, they're supposed to be very self-centered, right? Egocentric. That's how they're wired, and that's not a bad thing. So everything is focused on them, their family, and their classroom, right? Their little world. And then each year it gets a little bit broader. So like first grade, maybe they would do a map of the school. Second grade, they would talk about community members, right? And if you're not sure when they do what, if you read the TEKS, you'll learn a lot about when things are taught. So let's see, we did math, language arts, we did social studies. Let's do some science. I would say science is the third one that people ask me about. Let's do, I'm going to make this bigger. It's really little. Let's do number 5. Doing repeated investigations is likely to That's right. You guys are good. I can tell y'all have been studying. And then let's do one that's a little bit trickier. Which of the following tools are most appropriate for second grade? So I'll give you a second to answer that one. Yes, stopwatches, rulers, and plastic beakers. Good. So we did some science. Now let's do fine arts. Oh, whoops, I pulled up my study guide. We need the sample test. All right. Let's do number 2. An art teacher gives students supplies to paint as well as some sand, cloth, and tissue paper. What element of art is the teacher focusing on? Yes, texture. That's right. Now let's look at number 3. Make this bigger. An art teacher is showing students beginning wood turning skills. Which tool would you use for wood turning? Yeah, this one would be a lathe chisel. And they have some questions like that in the core subjects where you have to do that. Let me see if I can get my course to work again, because I really want to show y'all some situational questions if I can. Let's see if it's going to work. And if it doesn't, then that's okay. At least we got to do a little bit of everything. But I wanted to do this since some of you guys are taking your test soon. Wanted to go over the situational questions. Okay, now it's working again. A teacher is showing students how to put fractions in order from least to greatest. What is the best approach to help kinesthetic learners understand how to order fractions? Good, that's the most kinesthetic, and then it'll explain to you why that one is correct, right? And each one has a video to explain it too. An elementary school teacher's students understand the components of phonological awareness and have a grasp on semantics and syntax. What should the teacher cover next? Diphthongs, morphemes, digraphs, pragmatics. This one is kind of like the questions you see on the STR, but they do ask these on the ELAR section of core subjects also. This is probably one of the hardest questions that we've done tonight. Yeah, so this one, as always, figure out what the question is asking, right? After students understand phonological awareness, semantics, and syntax, what should the teacher cover? If you do not understand STR, this will be hard. Be sure to use a good study guide, right? Absolutely. The order to teach these concepts is phonological awareness, semantics, syntax, and then pragmatics. So D is correct, pragmatics. A, B, and C are all part of phonological awareness and therefore are incorrect. Diphthongs are vowel combinations. Morphemes are the smallest unit of language that have meaning, and digraphs are 2 letters that combine to make one sound. So, if you are struggling with the core subjects, like a lot of people tell me they bought a course from, I won't say the name of it, but a big company that has really good study material, but it's overwhelming. And so I've made my courses different where they're very manageable and very to the point. But they still have everything you need. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by your study material, you might want to try mine because they're to the point, simple, plain language videos, practice questions. And the benefit of working with me too is I've taken the tests that you guys take, and I only write material for the Texas exams, whereas most of those companies, they do stuff for all the states. So sometimes they have more generic material that's going to work for the Praxis, it's going to work for the FTCE. But I only do Texas, and I take the same tests you guys take. So I make it really similar. And then sometimes people ask me, are they real test questions? Well, that would be unethical because everybody signs that affidavit, right? So I never share real questions after I take a test. And I don't ask people what questions they took, but I understand what the questions are like, and I make them very similar. So if you're struggling, I encourage you to try a new approach, try a new approach. And then also another thing you can do that's free is to take release star tests, right? And you can take that for all the subjects up through 8th grade. And that will help you because those questions are actually pretty similar to the questions on your test, but not language arts. The language arts questions are just, they're just reading comprehension. So in case you don't have a good study guide, or maybe you have a course and you don't like it. Oh yeah, good question. Success rate for my course. And when people give you their success rates, it's based off of the people that actually tell them. So I'm at the mercy of people telling me, if that makes sense. Like if I was an educator preparation program, like I teach or Texas teachers, they automatically get your scores because you're enrolled with them, right? So they can track actual data. But test prep companies like me, the only way we can track data is to email every single person and ask if they passed or not, and then actually hope they reply. So nobody can give you exact data because not everybody's going to reply. But I think if people do everything in my course, including all the quizzes and pass everything, I think it's going to be around 90%, which is a lot better than the 70 something to 80%. And it might even be higher because like I said, some people don't keep in touch with me, right? They enroll in my course, and then if I email them, I don't always hear from them. But I do have some great reviews on Facebook you can check out. And then I showed you guys, all of my passing scores from when I took the test. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. Lots of people have passed. Some people have tried other programs first. I've helped people that are on a waiver, so they've already failed 5 times, right? And then they pass on their 6th time. Usually they require tutoring, not just a course, but tutoring and the course, and then they pass. But yeah, none of the test prep companies have access to your school reports. So whenever they're giving you their passing rates, like some of them will say what their passing rates are, it's never going to be 100% accurate because there's no way that every single person keeps in touch with them, but that's pretty much all I can think of. And then what I'll do is I'll email you guys the link for my courses. I put it in the chat box, but that way if you didn't feel like pulling it up right now, you'll have it handy. And I can email you guys a coupon code too. And then let's say you already have a good course and you like it, well, that's great. Don't mess with what's working for you, but maybe you want just some situational questions like the ones we were practicing after I got my thing working. So I do have just a situational questions course, which will just go over those types of questions. So I'll put that in the chat box too. And then if you guys, oh, Sharita, congratulations. She passed her social studies because of me. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you. Let's all cheer for her. That's so cool. That's great. So yeah. And then if you need like the ESL, the STR, whatever, you have my course, but you didn't see what? Marquita didn't see something. The situational questions, it's a separate course you can buy, and I'll put it in the chat box. So you don't have to buy it, of course, to pass. I feel like the course has all the material, but if you want extra situational questions, then this is really good. And And then if you're struggling with test anxiety, I have a test anxiety course too, right? Where you can learn how to deal with your test anxiety. And some people have told me that that's the main reason they passed their test. It really wasn't, it's kind of funny. It wasn't your content that helped me, which I don't know how to take that, right? Like, okay, but your test anxiety course is so much so that one lady that bought my courses, she liked my test anxiety course so much that she contacted me to buy it for her son, who's taking the MCAT to get into medical school. Um, Great. Oh, thank you. Ramisha checked with her teacher certification program and I'm on their list. Great. As a TEA. Yes, I am approved CTE provider. So if anybody is needing hours for a waiver, or maybe you're just needing hours to get permission to retest from your program, maybe you're not at your 5 test limit. Some of the programs make you get hours if you fail a couple times. So yes, I can give you a certificate of completion. And then if you guys need, like, if y'all want small group tutoring where we meet every week for a whole hour, um, let me know. If I get enough people together, I could do small group tutoring. I've done it in the past, but but those people took their tests and it ended, and I didn't do the work to get new clients. But if you guys want tutoring every week where we meet for a whole hour, go over sample questions, strategies, we'd probably just do it like we did tonight, where we do a little bit of all subjects, because I've noticed that's why I've had a hard time getting a group together, because everybody's needing different ones. Yeah, let me get you the test anxiety course. I think you're gonna love that. Let me find it. I've got so many courses. It's hard to keep up with all of them, but I can find it. Here it is. And it's a short course, but you're gonna love it. I paid a professional meditation expert to do a guided meditation. That you do every day. And then there's a thought replacement worksheet that I came up with myself. It's based on cognitive behavioral therapy, but it's written in really plain language. You don't have to study cognitive behavioral therapy to learn and benefit from this course. It's just from a lot of self-study that I've done. But some of those worksheets that I've done when I used to do cognitive behavioral therapy to help me with anxiety, and I noticed some of them were just really complicated with like 5 columns, lots of things to fill out. You had to learn what cognitive distortions were and label them. And I thought that's just making things harder than it needs to be, you know? So we take a thought and then we replace it with a positive, realistic one. And it doesn't have to be hard, right? But it can be very effective, especially if you do it regularly. But I'm excited for you guys. And let me also put the release star test in the chat box. That way you don't have to remember to look it up. You can just, save this. So release star tests, that's good practice. Anybody have any questions or comments or anything? Oh, yes, for math, somebody's asking about my math course. I do sell them separately too, so I'm glad you said that. If you only need like one subject, you can just enroll in the subject you need to save money, right? If you need 2 or more, it's actually cheaper to just get the bundle. But if you only need one, it's cheaper to do it that way. So if you go to this link, it'll have the bundle with all the subjects, and then it has all of the individual ones too. And you can pay for 1 month if you want to. And if you pay by the month, it's a subscription, so it will bill you every month. But if you want to just pay a one-time fee, you can pay a little bit more and get 3 months of access. So it depends on how long you're going to be studying for. To cancel is super easy. You just log on and cancel in your account, or you can text me at this number and I'll cancel for you, because the last thing I want is for you to get billed when you're not using it. So I make it very easy to cancel because I don't want you to get billed. Yeah, I'm planning on sending a recording tonight or tomorrow. I have some more tutoring this evening, so if I don't get a chance to send it tonight, I'll send it tomorrow. But any other questions or comments? All right, well, thank you guys so much. And also, I do offer referral bonuses. So if you refer somebody, please let me know their name, and then once they pay, I'll send you a referral bonus. And good luck to everybody. I hope you'll have a great night, and hopefully I'll hear from you soon. Thank you.